the answers are inside. Yeah, I am the 21st century superhuman. Now is the time. Come on everyone, let's celebrate. We are the children of the sun. I can see you when I look into your eyes. We are the same, and we are light, yeah, we are one. Here now, hear my ancient prayer and sing along. We are awakening as one, and we can make a difference. Yeah, we can be the change it takes to make the world.
Hi there, I'm Carrie Ellis, author of 21st Century Superhuman. This is our 21st Century Superhuman show, and today I have with me an amazing young man named Alex, who is of German origin, but he's been traveling the world for many years, and he has developed a new way for us to wake up to the beauty of who we are, and it is called AguaHara. It is kind of a learning how to flow in water. So, Alex, how are you today?
Hello, nice. Thank you for your invitation. And
yeah, tell us a little bit about how you founded AguaHara and how you got into this. We want to know because you're amazing, your energy is amazing, and what you're doing with this is really freeing people up. It's beautiful. So go ahead, just share with us about it a little bit.
I would even say that AguaHara found more me than I found AguaHara. And I still don't know really what it is. I found this at the end of a long journey going through energy work, shamanist work. And a journey more through shamanism, working with medicine plants, working with energy. And then I found the water. And the water for me was really the medicine where I felt this is the medicine I can share with everybody. It's able for everybody to receive this. We are all made of water. There are no side effects. There's just nothing which you can put out of yourself. With medicines, it's always the tendency that, okay, this was something coming from the outside, but we are made of water, and there's nothing we bring into the system which is not already there. So this is something which really interested me in the beginning to work with sessions, but since then it's developing, and today I don't know what AguaHara is.
Yesterday you and I were talking a little bit about how we're moving into a time on planet Earth where we're moving beyond this like aggressive individuality into more ebbing and flowing with one another, and you feel AguaHara kind of brings this out in people and helps people get this experience. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I would say that the water is like the big teacher, the big master of AguaHara and all this. And I think we can learn a lot from the water, and like what we spoke yesterday a bit, like we live right now more or less in a society where everybody has to be the winner, everybody has to be the best, everybody can be on top. And for me, the water is a lot about like, it's inclusive, it's not excluding anything or anybody. And also how does the water work with information itself, like with the concept of clusters. And I hope that this is something which also manifests in AguaHara, that there is not a person representing the owner of all knowledge, but that it's a cluster shape, a cluster organization, so everybody has access to the whole of the information, and everybody can take this amount of information out of it, what is necessary for their way, what is helpful for their way. So to create this as a pool of investigation, of development, and also of containing and sharing information.
I love your energy and what has happened in you as a participant in AguaHara as well. You have an incredible flow to your being, and it's really fun to be around you and your partner. You're both very beautiful energetically. And it's just a testimonial to what this work is doing by just being in the water all the time and ebbing and flowing with people and helping others learn that this open space and to receive what the water has to give. I understand that you have kind of AguaHara communities emerging around the world, and there's different little activation points. And I know that you're doing it a lot outside of the really, I'd call it the first world countries. You're doing a lot in Central and South America, and I don't know where else. Tell us a little bit about that and kind of what things are emerging.
Bueno, for me, AguaHara started in Mexico, or I started in Mexico with the water work. The name showed up when in the time when I was in Brazil. And when I started teaching, it was to family and friends, and I didn't have any idea where this all will go, and it didn't even have a name by this time. But I don't know, I would even say I feel more like in service of something I don't understand. And I don't have anything under control in this in a certain way. My dream, my vision is that it becomes a big community, a movement. But I started to give courses in different places, and then people gathered by themselves. They wanted to keep on going. They wanted to keep on exploring. They wanted to stay in the water. And for me, I think it's not necessarily about the time we spent in the water, but it's the quality of connection with the water. And there are swimmers that are like 5-6 hours every day in the water swimming, but it's like a medium of work. It's a substance where they move through. And I grew up at the coast. I was in the water, I was on the water, but in the moment where I received the first someone in my arms, another type of connection opened up. And I see it in surfers, I see it in deep divers and people that are with apnea. And there is something I term so far aquatic consciousness, which is a little bit a term to try to get things together. And for me, we need a new terminology, a new aquatic terminology to speak about the things we experience in the water, to describe the things we are doing in the water. And I feel like I gave space to something, and now it has an own dynamic, and it's growing with, as you said, with different communities in different parts of the world, which also have all a little bit different focus. I, for myself, right now I have a little break out of the water. I just came out of the course, but I still feel like I'm learning from the water. I'm learning when I'm in the water, but I feel like we can also learn more and more about how to move the water without being in the water, and how to connect with the water just through our mind, just through our energy, just through our heart. How can I work with your water? How can we work with our waters without even touching us, without being even physically close, but having this awareness of water and its possibilities, having this connection in between us, and from there on start to influence the water, to create new structures, to open the old structure up and let informations come out. And what I see a lot is that what is taking place in AguaHara is an exploration of oneself through the water. So of my authenticity, my breathing, my relations, my roles, my part, my place in society, in my family. And for me, it seems like just to go in the water, close eyes, have a nose clip on, and surrender and to allow things to happen. This is where really deep inner spaces are opening up. And this is, I work with some psychologists and say like, okay, where you go in the water in one session, takes us 10 sessions on land to go into the spaces. And in my observation, it's also that it allows us to go into prenatal spaces, pre-verbal spaces, and to really enter to deep layers, deep patterns inside of ourselves, deep places in us where conditioning is stored. And in my observation, water is really the place where we can go into all these places by our own, in self-responsibility or accompanied in a session, and work with ourselves, within ourselves. For me, the water is the most accessible space of inner healing, of inner purification, of doing all the process what we very often do with therapists, with other people, that we look for outside help. I think it's all valid, but I believe that the cure and the solution is always inside oneself. And as we are mainly made up of water, as soon as we start to connect with this, and that the water inside ourselves is not something rigid, but something fluid and alive, we have access to these places and we can work inside our.
That is just awesome. Beautiful description, Alex. It's very deep and very, I can feel the transformation, and we might have lost our feed for a minute. I took people to swim with wild dolphins for about 12 years in the Florida Keys and the Yucatan. And during that time, one of the things that we learned is dolphins tend to live in all brainwave frequencies at once, alpha, beta, delta, theta, and gamma. So they're entraining us to do that, and it's one of the attractions. And I think I've been in the water a lot most of my life, and I think what you're describing about this, using the water as a learning and a healing environment and an opening environment, I'm sure that we must access these different levels, dimensional levels of our being, and being more, I call that multidimensional, being in those multiple brainwave frequencies at the same time. And they say that's when we really access the genius state. That's when we access, whenever someone's doing channeling or kind of paranormal things, they're in multiple brainwave frequencies at the same time. So my guess would be you're doing that with this work as well.
There's still not that much scientific research about all this water work, but what is scientifically proven that in the space of receiving a session in the water, your brain frequencies changes to the state of lucid dreaming, or what we call enlightened state, or states of pure presence. And I think there's still a lot of research to do, but the beginning is there. It's scientifically proven that the brain frequency in a session changes, but I'm also very interested about having my own access to the spaces, that I don't need a therapist, that I don't need someone who moves me through the water that gives me a session, but how can I access the spaces by myself? And I never thought about this in these terms, but now where you're saying it, it's really worth investigating it, because you enter into really interesting states when you be in the water. And I mean, we see it in surfers, we see it with people that diving, that swimming with dolphins, that people that spend a lot of time in the water, one of my first impressions of them is they have a certain humbleness to them. There's a certain thing of, don't take things too serious, don't be too rigid in their mind structure, but be more flowy, be more watery.
Yes, beautiful. And I know that's one of your words, liquid flow, and you have liquid flow festivals. I just love the energy of this, and I'm just getting goosebumps just hearing you talk and knowing this, what we have access to that's so natural to us and can really help us change the inner core of our being. I'm just curious if, say a person is at home, and we're going to put links under this video, how people can access you, your work, the different teachings and gatherings you're putting on around the world. We'll put those links under the video. But if a person is just at home and they have access to water and they would like to go and just experience their own flow in the water in a new way, what would you say, like, how long should somebody do it? And we'll look at pictures in just a minute too, so people can get an idea of what this process is like. But how long do you think it takes for somebody to immerse themselves and then allow themselves to relax and flow and start accessing this deeper state? Can you just share a little about that if someone wants to? Like, you know, they always say, don't try this at home, but maybe we'll say, try this at home. And what would you suggest?
One of the main words for AguaHara is depends, because there is no golden rule. And in sessions, sometimes it happens that the person is just floating, relaxing their body, their breathing, relaxing in the arms of their partner in the water, and they go to a different state. Sometimes they stay so present during a whole session, and then in the end you take the nose clip off, and then they enter into a different state, because the presence, the mind, which tries to stay aware and in control, suddenly let go and relaxes. In movement oneself, in my observation, like after 10-15 minutes, usually the first resistances are coming, like what I'm doing here, what I'm doing this for, what is this, why, what I try to explore. But in this interrelation of body and breathing and movement and being in this liquid state, in the space where we don't have any conditioning, like almost everything what we are made up of in patterns and conditionings is made on land. So as soon as we go in the water, we are out of this space. And I'm searching since 9 years, and I didn't find the golden rule yet. Sometimes people float and they go to a different state. Sometimes they receive 100 sessions and it's all night relaxing, but the moment where they go by themselves, then it happens. Sometimes they dance and they stay the whole time present, but when they go into the receiving, into this passive state, then they go there suddenly. I would say in the moment where we enter the water, we have access to the space, and it depends on our own state of mind and mood, and probably also environment, water, temperature, light. Like, how fast do we go into these places, and how long does it take us, and how do we go out of there, or how much of this liquid mind, liquid space, liquidness in oneself we can bring to land afterwards.
Yes, beautiful. Really, 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 it's so deepening to just think about this, talk about this. I know Emoto had the water crystals and how our thought goes into the water, and they could crystallize that. But I'm sure there's a transmission taking place both ways, and there's got to be millennia of information just in our waters. And I know you usually do this work in natural water, right? As opposed to swimming pools, hot springs, lakes, oceans, correct? Yes. Okay, how about if we switch to screen sharing and let's show some of the beautiful images of this work. Good with that?
Okay.
Give me just 1 second here. And, I'm going to mute myself. Let's see. Just so that you have better volume. Let me just do this. Let me just go back a second. Get it right so that I'm muted.
Yeah.
I probably, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm switching back and forth here. I'll cut that little part out. Let me get back into here. I better not mute myself. Okay, go ahead, and you can go ahead and talk, my friend.
This is what we have here, the symbol of AguaHara on top, which is designed by a Mexican friend. He gave this in one moment as a gift to me. AguaHara, the Spanish word for water, and the Japanese word for center, for the center of vital life force. And
That is gorgeous. Reminds me a little of the flower of life and also the Taurus field. Very beautiful.
yes. Yeah, for me, it's nice. I like sacred geometry and symbolism. And what I like really much about this, like, it's a new symbol. It's version. There's no meaning to it. So we give meaning to this now. We give the energetic feel to the symbol with every session, with every dance, every meeting. We do it water.
Oops. Oh, I don't know why my computer did that. Hold on. Oh.
It's funny to suddenly have your computer on my screen.
I know. I'll cut this out. Don't worry. I can cut these little clips out of YouTube. It's very easy. I don't know why it did that. It's just that's this weird thing. I might have to start over. Oh, come back. Where are you? Oh. No. It does this thing, this new system, it does this thing where it switches screens and it just drives me crazy and I have no idea what to do about it. I might have to stop. Hold on. Let me start over here. Absolutely just really frustrating. I have not figured out how to work around it either. Here. Oops. Back to screen share. Give me just a second. And then go ahead and talk. I'm thinking I may, well, no, I'm going to keep myself open. Even though I'm getting a little feedback, I want to be able to talk to you. So let me just get this into full view again. Okay, and just you can continue.
This is this friend of mine made this image, and we're still in the search of like what are movements, what are images which are representing this work. And there are designers which are way more into this, but this was a long search creating this image. And being work in water, I really like this because I feel it's a very holistic, very integral work. It's not a body work. It's not like focusing on a fragment, but it's taking the whole being into account. So it's being work in water.
You know what I really like about it too is it's not all closed. You know, there's kind of an openness to it. That inner part, beautiful. Very beautiful. What I'm experiencing living in Central and South America a lot is how many people here have these really deep connections to nature, to art, because they haven't been so overlaid by the modern civilization. And there's a lot of really beauty emerging among the conscious community in these places. So why people like you and I are traveling and doing our work in these places, I think.
It's a blessing to be in these places.
Yes. Okay.
BACALAR, this is the lagoon where we are right now. This is one of our classrooms. This is what a typical class can look like. There's one student still coming late to the class with his kayak. Others are already in the practice of working together. And for me, working in, as you said, also like working in different waters, the water of BACALAR is very special water to me because it's one of the very few waters on this planet where the first organism is still alive and still creating its colonies.
Yes, stromatolites, correct? Yes, and those are amazing. So they're carrying probably millions of years worth of information that they're transmitting to us. Yes.
And water absorbs information,
Mm-hmm.
and water is a container of information. And to have this as a classroom, this type of information is, for me, one of the nicest places where I can give sessions or where I can give classes or dance in. BACALAR really is a very special water to me.
Yes, I agree. It's gorgeous and it's very powerful, and the energy here is very deep. And I can see why you're choosing this kind of place.
Yeah, I mean, like, if we really speak about information, this is the first life form on planet. This is where all life on this planet started there. So the original information of life is the information of this water.
Yes. And I understand there's a lake that these stromatolites are also in a place in Australia.
Huh?
I understand. You might mute yourself a second, and I'll come through better. My understanding is there's waters that have the stromatolites in Australia, and I think there's another place in Mexico, maybe Guatemala. You can go ahead and chime in there.
I think there are like 7 places where the stromatolites are still alive. There are a lot of places where they're dead, but I think there are like 5 or 7 places on this planet where they're still alive.
It is an amazing energy.
Yes. This is usually what happens like at the end of a class or the beginning of a class. Spiral circles. I think this is the end of a class, and all participants just closing the circle, interconnected, everybody taking the thumb of its neighbor. And for me, this is also moments because I think we can receive a lot of information from the water, but we also give information to the water. So with every word, every action, we also give something. And for me, this is moments, not just for the group of closing the class of the day, but also spaces of gratitude, of giving back to the water, of after all what we received in the water, what we learned from the water, to have also a little moment to give something back of this energy.
Gorgeous. And probably people connection with each other as well, right?
Yes. This for sure. I mean, the courses are usually in community, so the people will live together, they will be in the water together every day, they float each other, they hold each other, they accompany all the processes. There's usually after a few days in a course, there's such a deep connection in between the people, because it's also a sharing on a not regular way. We're not used to hold someone unconditionally in our arms. If it's our kid, maybe, but usually to just unconditionally hold someone in the arms or to be held unconditionally, this is already something which triggers things very deep in the person, and it connects them. I think this is Ibiza. This is in the sea. This is in the Mediterranean Sea. And a typical situation, a few students paying attention, some not that much, explaining something, showing something.
Gorgeous. And I know you're going back to Ibiza, taking a course that in September, correct?
Yes, there will be a course in August and another course in September.
Nice.
This is also Ibiza. This because a lot of aquatic therapy is also taking place in pools, and for me it's nice here to see this type of work taking place in infinite space. Like there's no limits to the space anymore. And I think this is also part of it. Like when you float in the arms of someone and you know you're at the edge of the ocean for hundreds of kilometers, there's just water coming. For some people, this can be already overwhelming, this intensity, this amount of water, and to let go, to lose oneself in this is a very strong environment to be in.
Deep insight. And do you, for instance, I know you've said you're in the water for hours and hours. Do you ever wear wetsuits, or are you usually just in swimsuits?
I don't like really wetsuits because they take a lot of sensation away. We have it like, depends where we are. If we are in thermal waters, nobody's wearing wetsuit. But like in the Mediterranean Sea, it can be that that are learning that they work with wetsuits, but it takes all the sensations of the skin away. And I usually just try to put clothes on as a sun protection, but not for warmth protection.
Right. Beautiful.
These are two teachers. They will teach the September course on Ibiza. It's a friend from Argentina who lives with his family on Ibiza, and a friend from Germany. She's now also taking the teacher training. And I think this is even from them to promote their course. And with him, you can see it pretty well, like that the freedom you have to handle a body in the water is limitless. And also the size, the shape of the body doesn't matter that much anymore. So people who have a very big body and problems to move on land, to feel comfortable with their body on land, you bring them in the water and suddenly they have a freedom of movement. And even a little tiny person can move a 100-kilo person through the water, because it's not a question of weight and size anymore, not that much.
Wow. How many people teach with you?
There are, right now, I think we're close to 20 teachers now.
Nice. Beautiful.
Same one. Yes, very beautiful picture. Attention, very attentive to her partner. A face of someone that's receiving. And in the other picture, you can also see it, like she's having, this is one of the essential thing of our work, the nose clip. This little tiny thing on her nose, this is our gateway into the underwater world, which allows the freedom of movement without taking care that we have pressure on the nose, that the water doesn't come in, or that we have to press the nose. This little nose clip is the little toy which gives us the freedom to explore the movement in its infinity underwater. Nice. And also, I like this in this picture, like this face of surrender. I mean, very often people get asked, especially here in America, after a session, did you sleep? Or have you been in trance? Did they hypnotize you? Well, what is this? But to be floating in the water and to be held unconditionally, I think opens you this spaces of surrender. And body relaxed, breathing relaxed, mind surrendered, then everything starts to flow. And I think this is also the space where everything can come to surface, which is inside of us unsolved.
Gorgeous.
This is one of my favorites.
It's amazing.
I mean, this is from a jam. Big. I think this was a jam of 50 people dancing together in the water. And she in the foreground, she's the only one you can see. She has this blindfold over her eyes. But in the beginning of the dance, everybody was blindfolded to bring people more into the inner state and not like looking who I'm dancing with or what kind of move, but go really more in the focus of sensation, of perception. And in this jam, we also invited the people that they come in their everyday clothes. For one, it just looks nice when people are with clothes in the water and they're flowing around, but also to play with this. Like usually there's a separation in between land and earth. I put my ropes off, which I use on land, and I put my bathing suit, my bikini, my trouser, my short on. But I like really this play in the water, like to play with my conditioning and also break it in the same time, because usually I don't want to go with my clothes into the water. I don't want to get them wet, so I put other clothes on, or I go naked into the water, or whatever form it is. But then to bring them in closest into water and blindfold them and put a lot of people together with a preparation so nobody gets hurt, everybody knows how to move. This is for me this picture represents for me a lot. Like aquatic jams for me is incredible because there are 40 people dancing together. Everybody goes on their own journey. Some people go really into dark, painful places inside of themselves, going into really strong processes. Other goes into ecstasy, into bliss, into states of almost enlightenment, of pure presence. Of other people get really lost, but in between all the sensation of being touched by other bodies, breathing, being in and out of the water, and they forget to breathe, they forget where they are, they forget what this is all about, and they all co-creating this. It couldn't taking place if not everybody would be there, and just one person going out of it, the whole energy of it changes.
And you call this a jam, like people dancing together in the water in this flow process. Beautiful.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
Oh, so very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Underwater tango.
Wow.
This is a screenshot of a dance with my partner, and we're exploring a lot the dance. She's coming from dance. She's a dancer.
Gorgeous.
This one was in Spain. There's a place where they offered us the thermal water, so we can do workshops there. We can be every day in the water, doing our own exploration, our own work. And we started to create videos of this, to give this to the place. And this is one of the most beautiful screenshots of this dance.
It's incredible. And you together, I've met you both in the physical world here, and you're both lovely. Your energy that you're carrying together is amazing.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, this is Argentina. This is also from outside of the water, but also the situation of an aquatic dance. And I don't know, for me, this picture represents a lot like how spacious the body can become, like how lightweight, and in the same way, how open the body becomes. And there's another body on the left side and another body above her, like how the dimensions also changing. I mean, she's like, from our point of view, like standing, but the person left to her is really in a vertical position, and the person on top is floating on surface, head underwater. So there are so many axes of the body, so many dimensions coming together in movement. And what is really for me a big gift, people, they are fearful of dancing because they're judged, they're observed, they don't feel, they know how to dance, and then they don't know how to move. In the water, they suddenly start to dance because there is no conditioning, there is no judgment, there is nothing. And even the most heavyweight person suddenly can feel lightweight and can create spacious movement with their own body in the water.
Beautiful.
Yes, this is usually how the beginning or the end of a class in the water looks like. This is again a picture in Mexico. And there's also my son, like in the center of there's also a little kid, which is my son. He is, I mean, we all came to this work, but he is, from the beginning on, he is in the water. Almost born in the water, a lot of time raised in the water. And for me, this is, the circle in the water is what can represent the most closely, like the cluster system. Like the water doesn't work in circles or two-dimensional. A circle is two-dimensional. But the water for me is a multidimensional space, and how people are come together, how people relate is also very multidimensional. But the circle is very close to represent this form of connection.
Wonderful.
Yes, this picture I think is going more into aquatic art, which is something I feel very drawn to create aquatic artwork. A picture shot from the bottom of the pool taking the surface of the water, but from underwater, as a mirror of what is happening with the person. And somehow maybe to see the reflection in the water is a more honest image of this person than anything else could be. But also all the lights and shadows playing on the body, all this dissolving of oneself in the presence, in the perception of the own body. I think she might even feel like as her reflection on the surface looks like.
Lovely.
Liquid Flow Festival.
I want to come to one.
Yes, this is the festival from this year. We just finished, and it says a journey through contact improvisation and aquatic dance. The first ones were like wider. It was more exploration of movement itself on land and in water, and also dance, but also therapy. And this year we put more focus on somatics and using aquatic dance and dance of contact improvisation as the tool, as the framework for this exploration. And it's all about this to bring body, mind, and spirit all together into an alignment, that I move my body from what is inside of me, that I don't have a choreography of a dance or form of a dance. I'm not dancing tango, I'm not dancing salsa or whatever it is, but that dance becomes an expression of my authenticity, of my own inner state in this moment, and that I allow myself to be expressed through movement. And this is this is my definition, my understanding of dance. And in this festival, what I see, it gives the people to space to break out of their daily life, out of what they're used to, and give them a protected space, a non-judgmental space of really exploring yourself and to connect with authenticity, that I don't need to pretend someone. I don't need to smile if I don't feel like smiling. I don't need to make a movement I don't feel in my body, but to really allow that movement rises from my authenticity and not from a mental concept.
Gorgeous. I think people are hungry for this kind of thing. I think there's many people around the world ready to let go, to open, to feel more free as who they authentically are.
Yes. I feel also that there are more and more people also searching for this.
Yes.
Liquid dance. Liquid dance is also, it's from the same family, liquid flow, liquid dance. The liquid dance festivals have more the focus on the aquatic dance. So there's not so much dance on land, but more the focus on the dance in water. And this picture I really like. It's taken also in Mexico, off the coast, in like 800-meter deep water.
Gorgeous. And this is just from the Liquid Flow Festival, people having fun.
Yeah. Yes, so this is a typical liquid flow image. Some kids, some people singing, some people making music, people sitting together in circle and sharing whatever it is. This a boat trip, like where we work here in BACALAR in the lagoon. We had one dense space in water and one dense space in land, and we needed to move the people always around with a lancha, how do you say, with a little motorboat which picked up all the people and brought them from one place to the other. And yeah, usually there was also some singing going on the boat, some music, or people just sitting together chatting.
Delightful. Reminds me of the dolphin camps we used to do. There's nothing like getting together and sharing and feeling free on the water.
Liquid dance, Argentina. This is the same picture which we had in the other one. This is
right.
A flyer a festival we wanted to go to do in Argentina with some of the teachers below. Some coming more from acro yoga, from tai chi, from kundalini yoga, from dance, from tango, and this was the first. I mean, it's there's a lot of pioneer work, and there are not really festivals right now about aquatic dance. So
you're opening new territory.
Yes. And it's a lot of explanation work also, a lot of like what this is about, and
right.
And usually people do not really imagine what it is, so they need to have a practical experience, and then they know, and then usually they also like it and they get hooked on it. But to describe in words what happens to you in an aquatic dance is like, I can speak a lot, but as long as you don't have the own experience, it's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
From Argentina, this was in a pool. This was a very nice event. We were 20 people coming together just for an exploration. So it was 1 week, how to hold someone, surface work, underwater work, dancing, and there were also some older people in this. And this was for me one of the first events where I really saw there is no limit to body shape or to age or to dance or to mindscape. Everybody can dance in the water, and through this dance in the water, everybody has access to the spaces which opens inside oneself when we are in the water.
Beautiful.
And there's also like 2 people you can see doing immersions, like bringing their partner completely underwater, face underwater, the whole body underwater.
Mm-hmm.
Others are more in the sustaining on surface, giving them a good support to the body so that they can breathe relaxed and really surrender into the arms of their partner.
Beautiful. So these next ones are just some screenshots that I added in from a beautiful video of liquid flow, and they're a little bit grainy because they're screenshots, but we'll just go through them a minute just to get some vision of what goes on. This is
mainly musicians from our festival. It's Roche and Diamar with her daughter. This is dance, Pilar dancing. This is more like a scene from dance. This is all BACALAR, like this incredible, beautiful water. It looks like someone with rastas, with dreadlocks, also being in dynamic motion underwater, having his hair like seaweed surrounding his head.
The mud.
Yes, the mud, which is also this organic material. A lot of people like to use it as how do you say, exfoliante.
Yes. I've been in it.
Them white.
Yeah, it smells like sulfur, but it feels very cleansing.
Yes. Another scene of aquatic dance. People moving through different shapes. This is the daughter of our musicians, and also a little underwater being.
Yes.
Yes, this is for me an example. How can the body shape underwater? How can the body dance underwater? And what things are possible there which are just impossible on land?
Yes.
Also, another scene, some people on surface, someone dancing deeper inside the water. And very often in these spaces, people are also dance with the eyes closed, so there is no orientation to other bodies. So if you touch something, you don't know in the first moment if it's an arm or if it's a leg. And this also brings a quality of softness and of awareness, of listening through my body, which we are not very trained that much to listen through our body to our environment. Also, aquatic dance. Another scene of aquatic dance, bodies relating. Someone dancing very happily and someone with another camera in the background. Head down. This is for a lot of people difficult to become head down on land. And on water, it's so easy. And to be just head down for a while and explore this already is another experience of oneself.
So, Ibiza coming up this summer for you guys?
Yes.
And then...
Yes. On Ibiza, we have 2 trainings this year. There's one in August, starting at the 1st of August, and there's the other training starting at the 1st of September.
So we'll end the slide share here, and let me see what time it is. Yeah, we should quit here pretty quick. I think we've been on almost an hour. So Alex, thank you so very much for being here with me. And I think your work is brilliant, beautiful, deepening. They say when we've put 10,000 hours in at something, we kind of start becoming an expert. And I think your 10 years, 11 years of exploring, healing, deepening that healing, becoming involved in the water, I think you're really developing a beautiful... They say we come and sit at the feet of a master because by duplicating their physiology and their mental syntax, we are able to access the same part of our brain as that person. And you've created this really deepened experience. And I think by just being with you, by just being in your presence, I got this sense of touching into another part of myself. And I think if people are drawn and they choose to come to your trainings, your workshops, your teacher trainings, or just the festival experiences. I know you have different places around the world inviting you to come and kind of set up their hot springs. I know you're going to Guadalajara soon and setting up these different places so that more of this water AguaHara work can be done there. So beautiful, and thank you so much for what you're doing. Unmute.
Thank you very much for inviting me into this interview, and also give me the space here to share. And yeah, I hope one day we also can meet together in the water and I can share you in person really the work I'm doing. Now you're on mute.
Thank you so much. Okay. So to our listening audience, remember to breathe, smile, and come into your own heart. Live, follow your heart, deepen your joy. We are in times of great change on planet Earth. We are now establishing the new Earth through our hearts, through our joy, through our state of being, and being in the liquid flow. Many blessings all.
Thank you very much.
Ciao.